My presentation focuses on the teacher. It is the virtual teacher that I want to address in this assignment, and I can certainly see a development and a change in the teacher role, going from just the chalkboard and the students sitting in front of the teacher listening to rather collaborative and kind of teamwork in the classroom, going up to the virtual teacher. I focus on the benefits and the constraints of online teaching, and through my readings that I will present, I also encourage the students to think about what they see as benefits, constraints, what they see as affordances, and what they see as certain problems or issues of online teaching. I very much also focus on the role of the virtual teacher and how that role has certainly changed, and I question what skills does a virtual teacher need, one that is organizing an online class. So it comes down to online classroom management, and in my task I also ask the students to think of 2 or 3 tasks which can be used in an online learning platform or a virtual world like Second Life. I will start off by talking about the Open University. One of the most well-known examples is the Open University when it comes to online teaching, when it comes to even getting a degree online. It is located in Great Britain, and it is an institution specializing in distance education. The language courses at the Open University are characterized by rather a blended approach, so combining traditional distance teaching elements such as printed books and CDs, but also virtual learning environments that include an array of activities and tools, from quizzes for self-study and individual web searches to self-reflective blogs to interactive forums, collaborative wikis, and interactive video conferencing. I also added a few examples the European Union has to offer. They've launched many different projects. Here the focus is more on language teaching purposes, but nevertheless it is online teaching, so I'd like to share some of the projects. One of the projects in Second Life that is an EU-funded project is called Avalon, which is Access to Virtual and Access Learning Live Online. Also the Mittler project, Networked Interaction in Foreign Language Acquisition and Research, and also Talk to Me project. All of these projects are very much monitored by an area in Second Life which is called Camino Island, and there's also the Camino project, which basically looks at teaching and learning in Second Life, and it was founded by the Norwegian Open University. And this Camino Island gives teachers all around the world to kind of experiment with teaching, not only in Second Life, but to exchange which online forms are best, which online methods are best, which skills does an online teacher need, and so on. So projects like the Camino Island are important platforms for novice, but also experienced teachers to experiment and discover the potentials of online teaching, and online second learner interaction is in this particular example. So this Camino Island kind of gives them a platform to also discuss problems and pedagogical issues and so on. Because we have to remember stepping, or I would even rather say jumping, from a face-to-face traditional classroom to an online or even blended teaching meaning the mix of classroom and online teaching, is certainly not an easy task for teachers. And if they do not have the right preparation, this can certainly be a challenge. I think my best way to give educators advice as well is to become an online student themselves. So teachers really need to explore these learning environments first. And for example, this Camino Island where all educators get together is a great place to do so. So other benefits, well, I see there are campuses such, for example, the University of Texas, who has launched a project involving 16 campuses on Second Life, is also a unique way to explore what can be done. You know, there are certainly many positive things when we get a group of people working together and discovering what possibilities there are in virtual online learning and also eventually teaching. The affordances I see in online learning, certainly also a big one for disabled students. I mean, disabled students that cannot take part in a course, or actually they cannot be physically there, they're able to follow course syllabus, retrieve necessary material online, and take part in the lessons in the virtual classroom. Another advantage about online learning is the numerous learning platforms and virtual learning environments that enable students around the world to get together simultaneously. So here we could have many international collaborative learning experiences, and not only on a university level, but this can be done in grade 6, in grade 8, in grade 10, it doesn't matter which grade. We can somehow, if the teacher has great ideas, to get other students internationally involved and to work on a project and share. And not only will this, in the long run, potentially improve language skills, let's say if we're looking for that, it will also develop intercultural awareness and exchange, and enable an exchange of ideas through voice chat, text chat, blogs, video conferencing, or even the interaction in a three-dimensional multi-user virtual environment such as Second Life. So the virtual student, Warburton and Perez Garcia are two researchers that talk a lot about these three-dimensional multi-user virtual environments and what they bring. So I summarized a few good things about them, about the Second Life experience and how it can facilitate innovations in pedagogy, for example, through extended or rich interactions, meaning giving the students opportunities for social interaction between individuals and communities, visualization and contextualization, meaning the production and reproduction of inaccessible content that may be historically lost, too distant, too costly, futuristic, or impossible to see by the human eye. So let's say we're talking about the cathedral in Cologne, Germany, and one of the activities would be, yes, to talk about it in class, but also to let the students explore and perhaps go into Second Life and see the cathedral, so take a virtual field trip. Another good point is the exposure to authentic contact and culture, individual and collective identity play. Here we have simulation, for example, as already mentioned, the reproduction of contexts that may be too costly to reproduce in real life. Another point is community presence. Certainly in a classroom we can promote the sense of a belonging, also online, so groups can get together. Then there can be individual and collective identity play. Content production, there I see opportunities for the creation and ownership of the learning environment, and also gives the students, very independent kind of work. They can monitor their own work and present it to their classmates. So here is a very good quote from Warburton, which I wanted to share, which says basically, self-paced tutorials, displays, exhibitions, role plays, all of these things, treasure hunts and quests, language and cultural immersion and creative writing, the list can go on what these kinds of worlds can offer, and combined with online teaching. Now, I see the teacher certainly takes a different role. The teacher becomes the facilitator, the administrator, the troubleshooter, mentor, coach, but also a designer, co-learner, guide, and most importantly, I think also an observer. The virtual teacher takes on an observer role, and I'm very much interested in seeing what also other people think about which tasks would be great to use in an online teaching classroom or in an online virtual world, because obviously the task design will be different. I also want to mention a few obstacles. Certainly, unlike in the traditional classroom activities in which the teacher directs the instruction, reads the lessons, prompts the responses, and paces the class, online group learning is student-centered and requires a different role of the teacher. So, as I said, the teacher becomes more the facilitator. Now, technology certainly allows a lot of things, but we have to be in control of it. So, a lot of patience. I do also mention a few obstacles. There are unexpected technical difficulties that can arise when using a computer. Overcoming these difficulties certainly takes patience. Technical know-how is also needed. Proper design and implementation of online tasks, certainly again crucial for online teachers, as the design of online tasks differs from those tasks used in a traditional classroom setting. And the greatest challenge when teaching online is to design that appropriate task. So loss of body language, body constraints, the issue of nonverbal communication, certainly all of those are also drawbacks when we consider teaching online. And the need for greater explicitness of instruction also can certainly put more demand and work on the teacher. So online teaching can be a very great experience and can offer a lot of different opportunities, but certainly it can also be time consuming, as the preparation for a lesson can certainly take up even more time than preparing for a lesson in the traditional classroom. Also, the access of technology can be a problem, as the teacher cannot just assume that every student in the class has the same motivation to use technology, the same know-how, and so on. Although this is becoming less of a problem as students are actually more tech savvy than educators nowadays are. So these are just some thoughts, and my main interest is also finding out what you think how the virtual teacher, the online teaching classroom is certainly different from the traditional one, and which tasks are certainly beneficial